we're back. This is Elliot Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us here on CCW TV, the Comic Culture Warrior video channel, where a comic book writer and a comic book vendor talk about comics and the comics industry and all that good stuff. Alright, first, didn't want to get too bogged down in the mainstream stuff. I know we've been told, you guys talk too much about Marvel, DC. There are all these other books out there that you guys should talk about.
And then you should be reminded that you have the remote control, and you can just, move on.
Well, not only move on, but go back through our timeline. If you look on the side of the channel there, go through our timeline and look at all the indie stuff we look at. And hey, could you look at those videos and up their hit count a bit and tell your friends about it so those videos can get looked at, and those books that, yes, we have pulled out and talked about to try to get attention, so that those books do get attention, because trust me, we love the indie stuff too. In many cases, the independent stuff just really tends to be more within our taste, but no one watches those videos. No one watches them, and the reality is we kind of need this show to be watched. So if you're not going to watch that, we're going to talk about the other stuff. So, man. But anyway, this is a book that everyone should read. Mystery Society, I want to call it Mystery Incorporated. Mystery Society by Steve Niles of 30 Days of Night. And Fiona Staples.
Yeah, I don't like them throwing Ashley Wood's name on there, because I thought he just created it.
Yeah, he co-created it.
So his name's on the cover, but he doesn't do
and he might have done, didn't he do like a variant cover here and there? Did a couple covers. But no, Fiona Staples does the interior artwork. All honesty, I've never seen her work before.
She did, I think it was called North 40. She did a miniseries for Wildstorm. That was the last thing that she did, and that wasn't too long, a few months ago. So, Fiona Staples does this issue. Great book. I'll be honest, I had no idea, because Steve Niles is so well known for his horror stuff. I had no idea that Steve Niles could also be so funny. Yeah.
Now, mind you, this is, I know the cover makes it look kind of, like dark, mysterious, and gritty. No.
But it's exactly opposite.
This has more of to me, it has really more of an Agents of Atlas feel to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of humor to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of humor to it. It's a fun book. It sets up this pretense. The Mystery Society, when we first meet them, are comprised of two characters. I forgot his name already. Nick Hammond and his wife. And he comes across kind of like as a Richard Branson type.
Yeah.
He's got a buttload of money that can do, basically whatever he feels like. And he's being hauled off to jail for a crime that has yet to be disclosed. We don't know. And because this guy is such a huge celebrity and everybody knows him and the people just like him, he is actually able to, before they cart him off to the penitentiary, he's actually able to stop and hold an impromptu press conference where he tells the whole story about the whole thing. And it's just, I was reading this book and I'm like, I don't know where this is going. And at one point I even said to myself, you know what? This is just going to be kind of like a fun frolic, because when the hero shows up in a rocket car and approaching Area 51,
it's one of those things to me. It was like, this guy's got so much money, he's just bored, and he needs something to do for recreation. He needs something to stimulate himself.
And it's just a fun like little romp. It's like the whole thing, like with Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is rich and he can do whatever he wants. This dude is kind of rich and does whatever he wants. But
so he's breaking into Area 51
because he wants to find something that's being hidden there. We don't want to give that away, because that kind of the point of this has to do with setting up the next issue. Overall, considering that I have never seen this artwork before, this artist before, I gotta say, Fiona, she brought it. There are some moments here, some bits, the craftsmanship, the drafting. You would think that it would be all, again, there are a lot of talking head moments here, interspersed with action. The way she varies the camera angles and
camera angles and facial expressions while characters are just talking, it just makes everything look just more vibrant and not as static as some people do.
And she has to go from the mundane of somebody's living room, although it's not really a mundane living room because you see a lot of the artifacts and stuff that they have there, to the labyrinth of Area 51. And the guy having, the hero having to work his way through all that in some cool, like, RoboCop type imagery. I don't know. I really do hope more people pick up this book because this is a very fun and very well executed indie book that deserves a lot of attention.
I mean, this art is great. And this character, I mean, there's already, it's just kind of like, I don't want to compare it to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but it's going to kind of have that vibe where there's these people who are joining this society who kind of are all kind of just bizarre and have their own
weird offshoots.
Yeah. So, but they have this Secret Skull character which joins them,
and it's done really like in a fun way. You read it and you think it's gonna go one way and it goes the other way.
And again, I guess another issue where you're seeing a team being formed, it's getting the band together. But again, it's done very refreshing
because stuff is happening
as
it goes. Stuff is happening as it goes.
Stuff is happening as you're going. You're learning about the characters. There's great character moments. Like everything we just talked about Thunderbolts, everything we just said about Secret Avengers, and everything that we hated about Avengers. It's like but
and you know what? And they're characters that you like too.
Yeah,
they're likable characters. They're characters where you're like, I want this guy to get out of this. I want, these are characters that you can have empathy for.
Yeah, within the first few pages, Steve Niles already has you liking this main character and liking all of these characters at one point.
Which is something that, I'm sorry, with Dark Avengers, I had absolutely no emotional investment in those characters because I didn't like any of them, and none of them gave me any reason to like them. So if I'm going to read a book and follow it and just go, and invest my money every month in it, you got to give me characters that I care about. Mystery Society has characters you can care about.
This is there was a couple of people on our blog who actually said that they were going to pick this up. And when it came into the store, I was like, oh, why not? I'll pick it. I flipped through them. I think, well, the art's pretty nice.
Art is gorgeous, actually.
Yeah.
If anything, it gets better as it goes, too. You can tell, Fiona Staples gets really more comfortable with them the more she draws them. And again, very easy for your eye to follow. The draftsmanship, the layouts, the page panels, done very, very well. It's by no means too flashy. Just very flashy enough, and I wouldn't even call it workmanship, workman type work, because it still has a lot of zing to it. Her artwork has a zing to it, unlike that friggin' Titan special, which is really. Okay, so I said in the open of these segments that there were some wrongs going on out there, and that we needed to fix it. And damn it! Some people are pissing me off out there on the internet, out on the interwebs, because if you know anything, you know that we love Doomwar. And Doomwar, that's issue number 4 by John Mayberry with art by Scott Eaton and Andy Lanning. Part 4 of the ongoing battle between T'Challa of the Black Panther, the original Black Panther of Wakanda, and Victor Von Doom. This book, I mean, it's just a lot of stuff is happening. It just keeps happening. Things just keep going. The action in this book is ratcheted up even more, even to the point where I was reading, I'm going, okay, guys, enough. Give me a break. Give me a moment to breathe here, because it just keeps going and going. And Mayberry is really pulling out all the stops. This book, I don't know why, is getting panned elsewhere.
I don't get it either.
On other sites. Other sites.
You know what it is too? It's getting back to the whole. There's no decompression going on in here.
There's way hell no. If anything,
that might be the only reason I can think people would hate it, because it's just not slow enough for them.
There's one thing that happened. There's one thing that kind of annoyed me, because there was a
like an action sequence, and then they just
but there was an action sequence. Yeah, there was an action sequence. Yeah, where things got kind of. I don't know. I know it was like probably in the pacing when Mayberry was writing it. there was a scene where all the collected heroes are fighting all these, next generation Doom bots, and
yeah, it's right here.
Right, and then you cut to the next scene, and then
the next page,
the
aftermath.
It's the aftermath. They said, "Oh well, they all blew up." Like, well, it would have been nice to see them all blow up. But maybe that was Mayberry saying, you know what, I'm just not going to deal with that. I'm going to go against convention here. But it was a little abrupt for me, at least.
That was the only that was the only thing that really stopped me. I was like, what's going on? But
it could have been a pacing issue too. It's like, okay, we've got so much going on here. We need to advance the plot even more. Do we really need to see everything blow up? You never know. The Destroyers play more and more of a role here. These female African warriors who are going out and they're kicking ass. And this is, again, really cool. And as you read this book, it seems like the male characters are taking more of a back seat. Really, the most...
Especially in this issue.
In this issue. Sue Storm and Storm are kind of out there on the front lines with the Destroyer fighting all these Doombots. You see Johnny Storm every once in a while. You see Ben Grimm every once in a while. But the women just seem to be taking center stage here. Which is one of the criticisms of this book, is that some folks are saying that the characterization of Storm, that they're making her seem weak.
I don't get that at all.
Because in the first issue, she let Doom kind of like treat her, like force her into submission. And, she has battled Wolverine without powers and got the leadership of the X-Men from Scott without powers. And why couldn't she take on Doom and blah, 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 blah. People tend to forget that Doom also had guns to the heads of the rest of the royal family at the same time. So why is Storm going to do anything to put them in danger? There's been a lot of criticism of the characterization of Dr. Doom himself.
Which I don't get at all.
Which I don't get. I mean, okay. I can get it to a certain point because this is a very ruthless Doom that some folks aren't accustomed to seeing. But I'm going to tell you right now, the same people who are criticizing this Doom had no problem with some of the stuff, again, that Mark Waid did with Dr. Doom, that Brian Bendis did with Dr. Doom, especially Bendis' run with Doom.
Yeah, the only reason I can see that this book is getting any criticism is because there's no big names on this book.
No, there aren't.
There are no big name characters in this book. They think that they're using the X-Men just, to use the X-Men, whereas the X-Men aren't in this issue anymore. They're gone from the story. But those two issues with the X-Men that was like one of the best X-Men stories I've read in years.
And it was supposed to set up the story.
Right.
And it's Mayberry essentially being given, carte blanche to use characters in the Marvel Universe as he feels fit the story.
And I'm sorry, if anybody could put the most overused fucking character in the Marvel Universe into this book and make it awesome and
make it work, yeah,
I'm sorry, man. How can you not like this book?
Which brings me to the second criticism I had with the book. Again, the lack of an explosion is one thing. But to me, they freaking give it away on the cover.
Yeah.
They had to give away, the fact that...
Well, Deadpool was on the cover of the first issue, though, too.
But that they give it away, and it's, I was like, I know Deadpool's going to show up at some point, and then when you get to the point near the end where you see this character show up, I'm like, that's him. That's him. But still...
And the reason why he's thrown into the story makes perfect sense.
Perfect sense.
Because the whole problem is that T'Challa is like, Doom knows exactly what we're going to do.
Right.
He doesn't think that we're going to cross a line.
Right.
He's like, we need to go outside of that to be outside and do exactly what he doesn't expect.
Or in other words, he says, it's time to get a little crazy.
Yeah.
And what does he do to get a little crazy?
Throws an one of the most unknown elements in the Marvel Universe into the story.
And on top of that, someone who you would never expect T'Challa to reach out to and use in a point. Let's face it, Wade Wilson is available to anyone as long as you pay him. And there he is. So, oh God, I love the Spider-Ham clock on his little card. I was like, that was great.
Again, it's like the one character that, I do buy the Deadpool, the regular Deadpool, and I still like that, but it's like, we bitched and complained about fucking that. And when the first issue came out and we were complaining that Deadpool was on the cover, we're like, what the fuck? Why is Deadpool going to be in this? But then when you finally get to it and it works,
yep.
Like, I don't know anybody else who could have done that.
It's the same as like when we were saying about Brubaker putting Moon Knight on the Secret Avengers. It works. The way, again, Luke Cage as the leader of the New Thunderbolts. It works. You have a writer who considers the characters and not just, having that character on the cover of your book to boost sales.
Yeah. And I said it on the blog, and I'm going to say it again. Like, if you do not like Doomwar, you do not like good comics.
You don't like good comics?
Serious, you don't.
And we got shit for saying that, too. So anyway, Mystery Society and Doomwar, 2 books that really need to get their props. And one book, I mean, I know some folks are really out there pushing Mystery Society. Keep pushing it. But for those of you who are hating on Doomwar, shame. See, for once I get to say this to other folks. Oh. Shame on you! No, I say good day, sir. I said good day. When we come back, we're going to give DC some love. You knew we had to eventually. We hope you join us.